a well in the middle of a field. Hello friends. Before I share today's dream, I want to ask, if you like what I do, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give it a like, and hit the bell. This helps these stories not get lost in the fog of algorithms. And now, about the dream. It happened after a day that seemed completely ordinary. But inside, there was a strange premonition, as if something old was about to awaken. I went to bed without any particular expectations and fell asleep almost instantly. The dream began with me walking through an endless golden field. The grain swayed in the wind like the surface of water, and every step crunched, as if I were walking on the dry bones of past years. Above my head was the sky, not just blue, but deep, as if memories could fall into it. Somewhere in the distance, a lone lark was singing, its voice dissolved into the open space. I felt a strange lightness, as if I wasn't walking with my feet, but gliding, and the farther I walked, the stronger the feeling grew that this field wasn't real, but woven from some old thoughts, once forgotten. A dragonfly flew by on my right, then another. One landed right on my hand, looked at me with its periscope eyes, and fluttered away. And for some reason, I understood. I was approaching an important place. In the distance, I saw a dot. It grew slowly, as if I wasn't walking toward it, but it was approaching me. I walked towards her, and with every step it became quieter. Even the wind held its breath. When I got closer, I realized it was a stone well. Old, covered in moss, with a wooden crossbar and an empty bucket. But most importantly, the grass around it was trampled, as if someone had recently been standing there. I leaned over. Inside it was dark, and I couldn't see the bottom. And then I heard a voice. It didn't come from below. It sounded in my head, like a memory that someone had given a voice to. "You once threw a coin in here, didn't you?" I remembered. I was about 9 years old. Back then I made a wish, my most cherished one. And indeed, this well looked just like the one I once visited with my grandmother. But could it really be that it ended up here, in the middle of a dream? The voice continued. "Time has passed. Do you want to know if it came true?" I nodded, not knowing whom I was asking, and then a bucket rose up from the depths. It moved slowly, as if an invisible hand was turning the winch. Inside was a mirror. I saw my reflection, but not as I am now. A boy both frightened and determined at the same time. He looked me straight in the eyes, and then he said, "You already know the answer." I woke up with the feeling that my heart had let something go, as if a debt had been repaid. And that's how it is sometimes a dream takes you back to where it all began, to remind you, you haven't lost, you've simply grown. But grown not in a way that makes you forget, but in a way that lets you see it again deeper, quieter, more clearly. This dream is a profound act of inner reconciliation, a meeting with the inner child, and the closing of a long-standing intention that was once expressed sincerely, purely, and bravely, and then forgotten. It speaks not so much in words, as it resonates through a state of being warmth, peace, the settling of a debt that no one demanded, but that mattered only to me. I wasn't expecting anything special from that night, but inside, it was as if something long silent decided to speak up, not loudly, but barely audibly, like the rustle of a field, the touch of the wind, the gaze of a dragonfly. It wasn't just a dream, it was a road into the heart of my memory. I walked through a field that wasn't really a field. It was a fabric woven from forgotten thoughts. As I stepped on it, I heard not the crunch of grass, but of time itself. It was as if I was passing through thin layers of years, within which I myself was hidden. The person I once was. The dragonflies weren't just flying, they were guiding me. Small, yet precise messengers of something important. And then, the well. It appeared not as a destination, but as a meeting long ago arranged. In this well, there was not water, but the depth of a wish I once let go. I remembered it. I was 9 years old. Back then, I made a wish something important, almost sacred. I wished that there would always be kind people by my side, that those I love would be safe. I didn't ask for anything for myself. I just wanted the world to remain warm and understandable. And, like all children, I believed and then I forgot. Not because it wasn't important, but because the adult world took over the space for dreaming. The voice inside didn't ask, it reminded, quietly, with dignity, without insistence. And when the bucket came up, not with an answer, but with a reflection. I saw not what I wanted, but who I once was. A boy, a little me. He didn't judge, didn't accuse. He just looked directly straight, without fear. And he said, "You know the answer yourself." And I really did know. That wish didn't disappear. It came true, not as an item on a list, but as a path. I became someone who could hear that dream, which means I didn't betray, didn't forget, didn't give up. When I woke up, I felt as if something inside me had become lighter, as if I had reclaimed a promise to myself, as if I had forgiven myself. What does this dream reveal to me? The field is not a real space, but a living field of memory, feelings, experiences, fragile states that do not die, but wait to be felt again. Dragonflies are transitional symbols. In mythology and dreams, they signify movement between worlds, a message from the subtle layers of the psyche, sometimes messengers of the soul. The well is an archetype of the depths of the unconscious, a place where the innermost is hidden, where a wish was once cast. Here, water is the memory of the soul. The coin is my will, my trust once invested in this world, an intention that is still alive. The mirror in the bucket is not a reflection of the external, but a contact with the inner child, with the one who still knows why you are alive. The bucket rises on its own, because the time has come. The phrase, "you already know the answer," is the key to adult acceptance. The answer is not outside, it is within. I am already carrying it. This dream is not about learning something new. This dream is about remembering what I have always known. I fulfilled a promise I had forgotten about. I became someone who can hear the voice from the well and not be afraid. And that means I have become myself, completely. If you relate to this feeling, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and share in the comments whether you've had such dreams, or maybe you remember your very first wish. Tell us, let's think about it together.